Let's get it over and done with.
I call the honourable member Andrew Williams.
Thank you, Mr Chair. Take a call on behalf of New Zealand First on this Waitaki District Council Reserves and Other Land Empowering Bill. And likewise, we are only concerned about this land at Lookout Point overlooking Oamaru Township. The rest of the bill we are happy with, but it is this main contentious piece of land. And I think, Mr Chair, what people have to remember is the fact that this isn't just about bits of paper, and it isn't just about legal technicalities, and it isn't just about who was right and who was wrong. This is about a physical piece of land that has been there since the 1800s. And this land has been there overlooking the township, laid out by generations gone before us for the future of that town, but being used by the people of Oamaru and of the district for more than 130 or 40 years as an open piece of reserve. And therefore, 4 or 5 generations of people have always had the expectation and the understanding that that open large piece of land was for public use and for the public of Oamaru to use. And it went up to Lookout Point, and it formed the part of the extension of the very extensive Lookout Point piece of land. And therefore, quite rightfully, there is a significant portion of the community who today say it is wrong that it be carved up and turned into a subdivision for a short-term gain of $3 million or thereabouts profit in order to plough the $3 million into upgrading the Oamaru Opera House. And once the $3 million is gone and the land is gone and there's hundreds of houses on what was a 100-year-old reserve, it'll never be there again. And as I've said in this House before, councils all over New Zealand are constantly trying to acquire more land, trying to acquire more public reserve. Just the other day, Auckland Council announced that they've just bought a large piece of land up at Parkery, north of Auckland, and a very sizable piece of land, several $1 million worth, which should be a huge improvement to the Parkery area, and they're very proud of it. And Aucklanders will be very proud of having that additional reserve land under public ownership. And I know that many MPs often don't get involved in this because they don't get involved in local government. It's something quite foreign to them. But those who have been in local government know how important it is having reserve land in public ownership and how much effort goes into buying public land for reserve purposes. And for an expanding population in New Zealand, when I was a child, it had 2 million people, and it's now got 4.5 million people. And with an expanding... You didn't realise who was that old? Yes, there were 2 million people when 2 million people when I was a child. Exactly, I have. And so now that our population is growing and heading towards 5 million, and in another 20, 30 years it'll be 6 million, the open reserve land becomes more and more and more precious. And in a township like Oamaru, where there are significant numbers of people saying, we don't want that lovely big ridge of land that overlooks the town being chopped up and turned into houses for a short-term gain, I tend to fall on the side of those who are there to protect the land and keep it for in perpetuity for future generations as well. And I think there was enough doubt, even though the officials said, after analysing everything, it seemed to be that it was an endowment piece of land rather than a reserve piece of land. And there still seemed to be a certain area of doubt there, and it was basically down to interpretation. And I think if you threw enough QCs and learned people at this, you could come up with different answers as well at the end of the day. And therefore, in that respect, where there is an element of doubt and where there is a significant element in the community saying we want to keep our land and we want to preserve it, then I tend to err on the side of the reserve. And New Zealand First likewise does not believe that it's in the interests of the area of Oamaru to start carving off reserve land for houses.
I call the Honourable Dr.